again. So the thing that I was, that's good. So it's also being transcribed. So the thing that I was going to hand you as a free gift is the fact that I was going to drop the lowest test on your pen grade only. I didn't have to give that to you, but because you're so nice and respectful, I thought it would be a good idea. Yes? Okay. That is not going to happen next semester. Does that make sense? And it is only on your pen grade. It is not on your Ivy Tech grade. So they could be substantially different because of that. Does that make sense? But I thought it would be helpful to you because I do not think your Ivy Tech grade, you'll have to talk to your counselor on how it affects your GPA, but oftentimes it can be different. So talk to them for sure to make certain. Would that give you a little more hope? Yes? So then for those of you, if it was a dumpster fire and didn't go as well as you wanted to, then you would need to change your life, which means you need to be asking questions, which means you need to be checking all the homework, which means you need to be doing math with other people. Maybe you try and do one problem, they try and do one problem, but there can be no more lifelines because at some point I just can't do it for you. Does that make sense? But I think that this is a little bit more grace that I can show you to try and help you out. But then after that, I can't show any more grace. Is that okay? Okay, that's all I can fairly do. Yes. I already said that I was dropping one test and one quiz. Yes, did I not say that? Okay, so one test, and one quiz. Only on the pen grade. Does that make sense? So again, they can be substantially different.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, one reason I can do that is because it will give you hope, but I also know it will not inflate grades. Because as often happens with human beings, I'm giving you this and you know it's what's best to do, but unfortunately a lot of you won't do it, right? Every year there are thousands of books written on how to exercise, but everybody knows, just get out and run, dude. Just get out and run. It's not that complicated. But people, unfortunately, are still not healthy. Like me, I need to run as well. So in a similar way, I'm just saying, just study or just come find me and we'll be okay. But unfortunately, a lot of you won't. So the grades will not be inflated. So I feel okay with that. But for the one or two of you that do take it up, it's going to be good. And I'm happy for you. Does that make sense? So please surprise me and let everyone do it. And my problem be next time to have so many A's that somebody says, what's going on in your class? They just started studying a bunch. Does that make sense? So I'd rather have to explain that. Okay. Cool. So that's what we have going on. But again, as a way to do everything I can to support you, you know that you've already looked at the schedule and there is a quiz on, let me go share screen. Continue. You know that there's a quiz on Monday, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you should already know this, but because you're busy and I just want to kind of help out a little bit, I already emailed out what you should be able to do. And because you may not know how to study, because that's something sometimes we don't do and just assume you know, let me give you an outline. You should randomly choose one in 1.6, 6 through 9, and try and do it. And then you're having coffee with Liam, and you're like, dude, you like buy him Starbucks and you go to Barnes and Noble or whatever. You say, okay, I'm going to make up one like number 6 through 9, and I'm going to write it down, and you try it, and then we'll see if you get it right. And then I'm going to make up one, and you try it. We're going to do that. And if you can do one you've never seen before, then you're ready for number 6 through 9. Then you go on to number 10 through 24, and you randomly pick one that you don't know how to do, and you try it on paper with no notes. And then you see if you get it right. Does that make sense? And so I've given you every category of question that I could possibly choose. Again, this will not happen next semester. I'll put the end of it at this semester. So this semester, I'm training you, helping each other and making sure it's clear how to study and also what the college expectations are, because we're transitioning from college towards high school, because you get college credit, right? So for the first half, I'll treat you a little bit more like high school kids, but by the end, I should be able to treat you a little bit more like college kids. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay, cool. So if I'm treating you more like high school kids, I would say, here are the exact type of questions I will do and the ones I would practice. But as a college kid, I would say, don't forget at the beginning of the semester, I said, homework problems are important. Well, dude, these are the only types that I assigned. And so this is literally my notes for me making a quiz. I really see only 4 types of questions I could ask in 1.6 and 4 types of questions I could ask from 1.7. For at most 8 questions at most. There you go, done. Make sense? Cool. I want you to be super successful. I know you're busy, and so I'm really trying to narrow it down for you. Are there any questions on exactly what to expect on Monday? Okay. The other thing I'll say that if you don't know, I really want you to hear, so make sure you hear this. You will not get different unless you are different. If you are not a different person between now and the quiz, you will get the same sort of grade that you got on the test. Does that make sense? You must be different to get different. If you are the exact same person, you will get the exact same grades. Is that cool? That literally means you might have to start hanging around different people. That literally means you might need to call different people and say, hey, can we study together? I see that this class is going well for you. Or on your way out the door, you may say, we haven't talked before, but I want to do well in this class. Yeah? Okay. So those sort of things, whatever you need. Cool. Anything else that we need for quiz 2? So this was sent to you in an email. Raise your hand if you did not get that email. Okay. You didn't get that email? Okay. So you need to figure out how to make sure that you're getting Canvas emails. Okay. Because that is the learning management system that everybody uses nowadays. Literally, there's only a handful of companies left that do what Canvas does, and all the other ones are just horrible. So pretty much any decent college that you go to will probably use Canvas. So if you cannot figure out how to do it, let me know. But there are settings inside Canvas to make sure it's getting you the emails. But just in case you didn't get it, inside of Canvas at the top, I put a link to Quiz 2 review and a link to Chapter 1 ideas. Yes, absolutely. Cool. Any questions? Cool. I want you to do well. You're all super smart. You just have to get your stuff done. I know how it is, yes? You've got a lot of things that are very important. I just need this to be important between now and Monday. Then if you want to shift gears and let something else be important, like chemistry be important for a little while, that's fine. And then shift back to me, yes? And just, you got to figure out how to do this little shifting for me, yes? Okay. So now what I would like to do, yes? You sure? Okay, you're just playing with the pen. Colin, can you come up here? And then Holden, can you scoot back one? Because there's nobody sitting next to you, is there? No, okay, scoot back. Okay, because I need you to have a partner. Actually, can you come up here next to Omar? Because he already knows this math. He doesn't need this math. Okay, here's what I want you to do with your partner. Get out a sheet of paper. A review for today. Go ahead and make sure your computer is closed for now. You can go ahead and close it for just a second. But one good note is that for the entire rest of the year, our me code is now pre-calculus, and it's easy. Yes? Pre-calculus, that's it. I can only do cute stuff like that if you're on campus. So don't think you can be at home and type in pre-calculus and it works. It only works when you're on the PHN network. That way I don't have to worry that some rando in the middle of nowhere types in pre-calculus and shows up in our meeting. It can only be somebody on this network. So anytime, it's going to be pre-calculus forever. There you go, because I figured out how to do it. Now, for us, what I'd like to do is I've already sent out the answers to this, but I want you to try and pull it out of your brain. Let's see if we can't remember some of these key ideas. And then it's already sent to you all of the answers, but in trying to remember these ideas, I think it's going to help. Is that cool? So first, what I want you to write down is evaluate. And there are 2 ways to describe it. And then solve f of x is equal to b. And there are 2 ways to talk about it. So one way is what you do algebraically, and the other way is what you do with the graph. So how do you evaluate f of a with algebra? Or how do you evaluate f of a with a graph? And then how do you solve for x equals b with algebra? And how do you solve for x equals b with a graph? Take a second with the smart person next to you and see if you can write out how to do those. Go. And we're going to go through this review one topic at a time. Ma'am. Yes. We will have to go time to go over homework at the end. Yes. Okay, for those people playing at home, what I'm trying to do is pull up the answers for these people. So I'm going to go in here. I'll pull up the answers so I can show it to them in a second. Chapter 1 key ideas. And I'm going to. Okay, there you go. Okay, focus on this stuff right now, yes? So you're answering these questions. So how do you evaluate f of a with algebra, and then how do you do it with the graph? You're trying to answer these things for each other. Yes. Do you remember how to do it? Yeah, these slides.
Son starts robotics in elementary school next week. So I guess that's a little bit different. I think they're doing first robotics. I think, what's it called? I think so. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah. For that one? Why are you doing that? I don't know. That's why I need to ask Elko. We think of it.
Okay, do we have an answer? Yes? So what do you think for the first one? What's the answer for the first one? Mr. Hickey? You plug A into the function. That's how you do it algebraically. How do you do it graphically? What point is where A is? Yes, yes, yes. So if I hear you right, you're saying that to evaluate f of A, you plug in x equals A. To do it graphically, you find the y value, the height, where the line x equals A hits the graph. If you did not have that memorized and that did not make sense, you need to read that to yourself 100 times until it makes sense and you have it down. Because that is a fundamental idea. So these things that I'm telling you that I already sent out on those key ideas are the ones that you have got to have in your brain hole. Yes? Super, super, super important. But what I've learned from Drumline is I can't just assume that you have time when you're practicing outside. So anytime I have time with you, I'm trying to practice these things, these fundamental things. So then solve f. So here, to answer Liam's question, evaluate f of a is you have the a and you plug it in. Solve f of x is equal to b, where b is a constant. Because remember, a and b at the front of the alphabet are assumed to be constants, yes? Because we followed Descartes, and that's what he did, so that's what we do. So if we solve f of x is equal to b, then you plug in y is equal to b. Yes? And so we find an x value where the line y equals b hits the graph. So if you plug in y, you find out where the line y equals b hits the graph. If you plug in a, that's like finding where x equals a hits the graph. Does that make sense? Okay. You're like, okay, I hope these get harder. Let's see, BAMO, domain and range. So how do you find domain? What does it mean to be domain and range? And then how do you find the domain? So write down 2 different ways to describe what it means to be the domain and 2 different ways that you know of to describe the range. And then at the bottom, if it says find the domain, how do you do it? Write it down on your paper. So take out your paper and write it down. Because it is known by, if you need a reason why, it's done, we know by education research, if you write things, you learn better. There's research say that. By writing it, you learn better.
And Leah has no poker face. Yeah. All right. Okay, good. You guys, you mixed them together.
Two ways to describe domain, 2 ways to describe range. And then somebody said, find the domain, how would you do that? So these are the other things that you can be doing with your study buddy is going through, okay, I should be able to say main ideas and you should be able to explain it to me. What is domain? And then you should just be able to start talking and say, let me tell you about domain. Domain is all possible inputs, it's the same as the x values. And to find it, you worry about the square root of the negative or you worry about stuff over 0. And you have to be able to explain it. That's when you know you understand it. When they can just say a topic and you explain what's going on. Make sense? It's like doing a pass offs. So. Because you don't want to take the square root. So I want to think of it very different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here you're writing down what you want, and here you're writing down what you don't want. It was just easiest. Said that way. Did you have some answers? Yes? So hopefully it looks something like this. Yes? So the domain is all possible inputs or the x values on the graph. The range is all the used outputs. It's what you get out, right? So the range of values in this class might be 101, we get a 99, a 98. Then for some reason we didn't have any, then we have like a 92, 91. And so the range is all the outputs that I got used up. Even though you can get any grade between 0 and 100, the ones that actually showed up as used outputs. Does that make sense? That's the range. Like today, there's any range of values that could happen, but the ones that are going to get used up are like between 40 and 70. Make sense? Even though it could be 100, it's not in the range for today. Okay, and then define the domain. Square root of negative. That's where the radicand is greater than or equal to 0, and stuff over 0, you worry about setting the denominator equal to 0. So what it means to be ready for the test is someone should say, domain and range, talk to me. You should be able to write down all that from memory. And hopefully it's not just memorized, but it makes sense why it is what it is. Yes, that's what it means to be ready. I will never have you memorize anything that is not fundamentally important. When you get to calculus, I need you to be able to do that. So once you get it now, it's going to make calculus all much easier. Does that make sense? I'm going to make calculus easy for you because you're going to know these things really well. Yay! And then once you get calculus done, you might not even have to have any math in college. If you don't want to. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you so much. Omar. Awesome win convenience. So here are 2 ideas. First, what is the average rate of change? And I gave you a little picture over there. And then what does it mean to be the composition of functions? So this is on the last test. I know I was ready for the last test because if someone says average rate of change, I just go, and I can start telling you exactly what it is. Write down some algebra, I draw a picture, let me explain to you what it is. And then the last one, what is composition of functions? Is it L 104? So can you write down what the arbitrary change is? That's not good. So we need to, because that was just on the test. And so part of what I'm doing is I'm helping you spiral review, yes? So this was on the last test, but it's not necessarily going to be on the next quiz, but we still need to know it, because it's like fundamental. This is like the beginning of calculus. Yes, sir. Absolutely. By trying to pull it out of your brain hole, you're going to remember it more. Okay. Yes. So this is one thing that we see from education research is that even though it's kind of uncomfortable, the forcing you to remember it often is what's going to help you remember it long term. So hopefully you wrote down the following things. Bloop. That's what arbitrary change is. It's a change in y with a change in x. It's the slope of the line between the 2 points. It's f of x2 minus f of x1 over x2 minus x1. And the composition of functions, fog, is just f of g of x. And don't worry, again, I already emailed all this to you, but I really just want to practice pulling it out of your brain hole. One of the smartest guys I ever knew in math graduate school, he had a teacher that every day for calculus, for some reason, had them write out one really obscure math fact, the series expansion of e to the x. I'm like, okay. He's like, but I know it, because he had them write it every single day. So I won't go with obscure facts. I'll try and go with really important stuff. So let me see. Okay, so let's go here. Let's see what else we can remember. Transformation of functions. F of x plus c, f of x minus c. So what do these things do? These are different ways. If c is a positive constant, we know it's a constant because c is its from the alphabet. If c is a positive constant, then what do all those things do to a graph? And then at the bottom, caution, when graphing transformations, there's something you have to remember. So see if you can't remember what that one caution might be. Let's take a second and see if you can't remember these. And I want to smooth. Place 2n, 4n, 2 and 3.
Oh, he's showing that it's more than less. Hold on. Can you share ideas? Yes, make sure you guys are on the same page. Make sure you're okay. Okay. Good. Ryan, share ideas with Calix. Y'all remind each other what it is. Yeah. Are you writing this down, yes? Yeah, please write this down. If you need to go to nurse, let me know.
Oh, like it was.
Sorry. So, it's like a horizontal stretch. Oh, very good. So, does anybody remember how we remember if it was a horizontal stretch or compression? Yes, Liam, what's up?
Form that is into horizontal stretch is when it's less than 1.
And horizontal compression is when it's greater than 1. Did we remember the metaphor that we used or how we thought about it? Speeds it up. We thought about time. So if you multiply all the inputs, so if you have CX and you multiply all the inputs by something greater than 1, then time moves faster. So it's going to go and draw the picture really quick. So it does the opposite of what you would think, and it's like a horizontal compression if this is a big number, bigger than 1. If this number is small, then it slows time down, so it takes me longer to draw a picture. Good. Yes?
Like for the change horizontal, for the vertical stretching compression, that's
Yep.
for the F effects, right? Like that's a C and an F effect.
Yes, that's a C times f of x. So you're multiplying all the outputs by a number. That changes vertical things. Cx, you can think of it as changing all the inputs by a number.
And is it vertical, it just changes the line?
Correct. Yep. Vertical changes the y values, and horizontal,
X.
x values. Right? Good question. So, caution, when graphing transformations, do you remember the thing? Give me a thumbs up if you remember the thing. What is it called then? There you go, PEMDAS, right? So PEMDAS and or work from the inside out. Those are the things we're worried about. So again, it's this sort of, so my late father would have told you to take 5 minutes before you go to each class and just review these notes. And it's like catching up on a conversation before you have a conversation. Now, what did we talk about last time? Oh yeah, we talked about this. Okay, so just take a few minutes to look at your notes before any class, and it really helps things to go better. That's kind of what we're doing, is just looking at our old notes to make sure that we're here. Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't put reflections on there, did I? So if it's negative f of x, that reflects it across the x-axis, right? So if you make all the y's negative. If c is negative, like -3, that would reflect it across the y-axis. Did that answer your question?
Oh, I realized.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. See, if you were reviewing with me, you go, oh yeah, don't forget. Good job. Cool. And then we go to this one. Okay, absolute value. This is what's going to be on the test, on the quiz. Yes, absolute value. It's going to be absolute value and inverses. So now we've reviewed for the old stuff just to make sure we don't lose it. But now we're actually reviewing for the quiz. So, absolute value. In words, what does that mean? In words, what does that mean? In words, what does that mean? Yes? So write down what that means in words, yes? What's up?
Yes.
So B is like how far away from something.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. But I don't remember exactly what the. I think A is the starting point. A is the starting point.
I don't know, we need to look. Yes, go check this part out.
Yes, A is the starting point.
What I would do is, I would maybe put in real numbers first, like x minus 3 is less than 7. What does that mean? Draw a picture and see if that helps. See if that doesn't help.
If it's less than B. I don't understand. I just wrote the sheet. Yeah, it just. So it literally is just. Yeah, like, yeah, that last one is the function of the graph.
What is going on?
If you want to make the group 3 again? Do you remember?
Not really.
Yes. Can somebody tell me? So what does it mean if I say x minus a is less than b? Does anybody know? Yes. Everything between x minus a and b. Ooh, let's see. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, you don't want the music for band. Okay. It's all the values within b units of a, right? Within b units of a. So all the x values within b units of a. So I'm centered at a, which you can only go within b units. Does that make sense?
Could you say it in another way?
Yes, I'll draw you a picture.
Yeah.
So let me do it on the computer screen. Oh, gonna fall down. So if I'm over here, so I would say that here is A, and you can go B units this way to A plus B, and you can go negative B units over here to A minus B. That's what this represents, right? Or another way we're gonna say it is x minus, we're gonna say that, how do we wanna say this? Oh yeah, x minus a is jammed in between b and negative b, right? So this thing is jammed in between b and negative b. And so then if I add a to both sides, I get this and I get this, yes? But the way that we think about it in words is it is all the x values that are within b units of a, that are within b units either side of a. Either you want b this way or you want b this way. Yes?
So it stops right at A plus B, A minus B.
Yes, and it doesn't include that endpoint.
So if I'm giving like a domain of that with a number,
Yes,
it would just be A plus B and A minus B.
it would go from, it's all the values from here. So, boop, 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 boop. It's all the values from here to here.
Could you go back to the word version?
Yes. So the worded version is all the x values that are within b units of a. So that's how we solved all the word problem type questions. Right? And then x minus a is all the values that are further than b units from a. So if I'm going to do this one, I say, look, I'm centered at a, and you can go b units this way, and you can be further than a plus b out this way, or you can be further than b units this way. So you're out this way.
Yes.
So I did like the algebra, but can you explain like how the words?
Yes. Okay. So let's go. So the words, we go back here. It says all of the x values that are further than b units from A. Whoa. Sorry. Further than b units from A. So what does it mean to be further than b units from A? It means, again, let me draw this picture. It means if I'm here at A, I can go 1 unit away, 2 units away, 3 units away. It wants you to go greater than B units away, which means here's B steps this way. You have to go more than B units that way. I could go -1, -2, -3 units. But if I go over here to negative B units, I want you to go further than B units, so you have to be out here. Does that help? He says, I see. That's awesome. Does that help people? Yes? So it's I'm at your distance from A, x minus A, is less than B. That means you're within B units. X minus A, your distance from A is more than B units, and it means you're out here. This says your distance from A isn't less than. Your distance from A is not more than. This says your distance from A is equal to B units. So here's A. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, exactly B units, you're sitting here. -1, -2, -3. If you go exactly B units this way, you're sitting right here. So you must have either been here or here. You are exactly B units away. Yes?
Can it be like more than or equal to, like greater than or equal to? Or
Yes.
less than equal to?
Yes.
What would that mean?
What would that mean? If it's here, if it was greater than or equal to, then you need to either be exactly B units away or more than it. You can be exactly B units away or more than it. So that would just
Is
be,
that included?
yes. Does that help?
Could you go back to the word?
Yes. Yeah. All values of A within B units of A. So maybe I should have just said distance. So your distance is within B units. Your distance is more than B units, or your distance is exactly B units. Maybe I should have just kept the same word every time. Yeah? And again, you've gotten all of these in your email just in case. So, cool. Oh, did you have a chance to get it all yet?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah. So then we go here and we say, okay, now remember how to do this. If someone says solve the equation, absolute value of crap equals B, then you remember what you write down. If it says solve the absolute value of A is less than B, what do you write down? And solve the absolute value of A is greater than B, what do you write down? So part of what I'm saying is, before any quiz, not only should you be able to turn to Leah and say, look, let me tell you about what the concepts are on this test. It's going to be absolute value, which is really just distance, and it's going to be inverses, which is really just undoing. And then let me tell you the types of questions I'm expecting. I'm expecting to see absolute A equals B. I'm expecting to see absolute A less than B. And I'm expecting to see absolute A greater than B, yes. And so write down what you did. So do you remember what to do? Because part of what it means to be ready is you should be able to say, I expect to see a question that literally says, solve this equation.
When did you go to sleep, baby? Really late? Did you have a lot of homework? No? You just stayed up late? No? Did you have a bunch of homework? That's good. Did you take chemistry? I was like, okay. That's awesome. Good for you, that's not a good mess.
Okay, well, you're welcome.
It's just.
Correct. Right.
Yeah, I do the paper. I just didn't do the reading because I saw them so late and I already had so many other things and I had to kind of sacrifice.
It's literally.
Yes, very good. Do you see how drawing the picture helps?
Yeah.
I hope you really see Liam's really trying to tell me that drawing the picture is helping him understand. Anytime in math or science you should be drawing a picture. I meant to show you that. Even in history, there's a really cool picture that explains some history stuff that I should show you. But yeah.
Let me see. Boop-de poop. Listen up.
Excuse the interruption. At this time, please dismiss all early college ninth graders for your field trip.
Peace out,
You are
Girl
going to
Scouts.
go to door L. So all early college freshmen, please report to door L for your field trip. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
Hello. Okay, so do we write down what these mean? Yes? Again, we're just trying to be honest with each other. I think that that's usually, that's where adults oftentimes get into trouble. The numbers do not lie. And basic facts do not lie. One basic fact is you got to know some of these important things or you're just not going to have a good experience. So hopefully you know that all that stuff means, I keep on wanting to show you the music, that. Those are the pictures that, I didn't do the equal to, but you have got to be able to tell somebody, I expect to see these questions and here's what my answers are going to look like. You're just not ready, right? So hopefully this will help you.
Wait, why is the first one? Oh, sorry, I got it.
No, it's important. Why is it just 2 dots?
No, I was gonna ask why you call the first one
Oh, yeah.
equation.
Equation, yeah.
Is the A supposed to be there in the first one? Number one, there's A second and either B or B.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, here's A, and if your distance from A is B, then you're either sitting over here or you're sitting over there. Oh, what is that? Oh, I'm so ridiculous. Hey, thank you. So what that should actually be, good call. So let me go in here. What that should actually be is A minus B and A plus B, isn't it? Thank you. That should be A minus B and, hold on. Oh. I'm just saying that it's one possible value. Okay, so I shouldn't have said, maybe I shouldn't have put my A there. It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. It's just somewhere in there. So sorry about that. So yes, the first one is wrong. The first one should just have either you're here or here, right? So maybe erase this A, my bad. This one says A can be anywhere in here, right? And this one, I should erase this A, and it should be that A can be anywhere right here, right here. So yeah, just put white out on my A's and it'll be perfect. Put white out on
So
my
it
A's.
is A equals B, A equals B.
Yes. So erase all my A's, sorry. Erase all my A's. So on this one, on the drawing, erase my A's. Because I'm saying A is exactly equal to B, so it's over here, over here. Here I'm saying A is somewhere inside here. And here I'm saying A is somewhere inside here. Yes?
Would it still be A minus B and A plus B? Or
No, it's just B. That's why it can get confusing, because we didn't write it as X minus A and X minus B. So I was getting those two conflated, which is easy.
So for the first one, we also use the A. So we just
Sweet.
spin all of them?
Hello, what now?
It's okay, I got my question answered.
Okay, cool. Is everybody happy now? Yes? So I think it's important to show you the x minus a that we did at the beginning because that's how people actually use it. But it's also important to see this equation version of it and just try to not get the two conflated. And you're going to let me know if that's possible. Okay, inverses. Here you go. This is everything you need to know about inverses as you get ready for the quiz. First, algebraically, there are 2 steps to solve for an inverse. Graphically, how do you find an inverse? And then how do the domain of f and the range of f relate to the domain of f inverse and the range of f inverse? Again, notice what I'm doing. I'm saying to be ready, you need to know here are the major concepts and the types of questions I might need.
Well, step 1.
Go.
Switch. 2.
Good. PSAT cleanup. Hey, what now?
Can I ask you a question about homework from
Yes,
class?
absolutely.
Like, it wasn't even the homework you just assigned, it was like from
Yeah.
class. Okay, I don't remember why exactly, but I thought this was all reals or something. Because I think like when you plug something into F.
Make sure that that's right. Make sure that question is right. Let me see. So if I go here, here's schedule. Which question are you asking about?
It was
What section?
day 4 and it was question 34.
Question 34 from absolute value stuff.
It's,
Question which? 34 from absolute value. So it's in here. Okay, let me see. It's question 34. What did I say?
You said it was no solution.
No, I think I said it was all, I think it was anything will work. Let me go back and look at my answer key. So if I go back,
Because I remember in class people were saying it was no solution.
no, that's, let me see. What number? So this is 1.6,
Yeah.
1.6 day 2.
Oh, shit. I don't know. I should write that down probably.
Yeah, no big deal. 1.6 day 2, 28, 32, 34. Always works.
So, okay, people just are liars.
But because this is positive,
Right,
always works.
exactly.
Cool.
So, but for, yeah, okay, so this
Same
was
thing is
always
true
true
for
as
that.
well.
It's the exact same idea. It's an absolute value greater than the negative. It's really the same question,
Okay, well, now I'm a little confused. When you get no solution,
right?
okay, wait, I didn't even write the question.
Which one is it?
It's still day 2. It's
Yep.
21.
So then when we look at
I know
21,
21 was no solution. I did it myself.
here's 21. When can an
Oh,
absolute
it's
value be equal to a negative?
It can't.
It can't.
Okay, I thought it was greater than it. I don't know.
Now you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So did you remember some of this stuff or you're still pulling it out of your noggin hole? Do you remember it? Raise your hand if you want 1 more second. Okay. So this, yes. You've got to know that algebraically means switch x and y and then solve for y. Graphically, it means reflect across the line y equals x. So if you have AB on F, then you have BA on F inverse. The domain of F becomes the range of F inverse. The range of F becomes the, and why does that happen? Because F inverse switches the roles of X and Y. So hopefully we see all the way through that right-hand column, it's one idea. We're switching the role of X and Y every time. Algebraically, graphically, and in terms of the domain. Yes?
What if we're reflecting it across the y-axis?
So this is not an axis. This is what it means to be the inverse is if you have the point AB on your graph, then you have the point BA. And what that does visually is it reflects the graph F across the line Y equals X. Not an axis, but across the line Y equals X. That make sense? And also because we switched the role of X and Y, notice this graph seems to have an X asymptote, I'm sorry, a Y asymptote, yes, a horizontal asymptote. So if F has a horizontal asymptote, then F inverse is going to have a vertical asymptote because we switched the roles of X and Y. Yeah? So again, notice how the fundamental idea doesn't mean I have to memorize 3 different things. It makes all those work. Cool. And that is it. Is that okay? Yes.
So where would you need to restrict?
Oh, very good. So can someone tell me when you would need to restrict the domain?
Absolute value and square, x squared.
So let's look at number 2. So number 2 on the homework, we had to restrict the domain here because we need F to be 1 to 1. Did you look at the answer key? Not being pretty. Okay, cool. So it's when we want our function to be 1 to 1. How do I test to see if a function is 1 to 1? Horizontal line test. Because it hits it twice, that means for these 2 inputs, I get the same output. So if I just restrict it over here, that's a new function. And it has an inverse. Yep. Is that okay? Yes.
This is the
Yes. Anything from the homework that you want to talk about?
So for number
15 is right here.
you just put, for the answer, you put plus,
Yes.
square root x plus 5. Why is it not plus?
Because, good. Remember, we said that this is our graph. It was only restricted to here, so it made this picture. Do you believe it?
Oh, I didn't realize that it said that there was a term.
And why did there have to be a domain restriction?
Because otherwise
It won't be 1 to 1. And the inverse won't be a function. So since we have this restricted piece and I reflect it across y equals x, it's only going to make this restricted piece.
Did it say, I don't really remember.
Yes, it did.
That it was-
Let me see. If it didn't, it told us we had to actually make it. So that's 2.1 number. Oh, crap on a sec. I did the wrong thing. Was that 1.7 day 1? Hello. That's rehearsal. Okay. Make sure you wear your black shirt tonight, band people. Okay, so 15. 15, it says find a domain that forces it to be 1 to 1 and non-decreasing.
Okay, wait, so it said find the domain.
So this one said find the domain on which the function is 1 to 1 and non-decreasing. So that means I want it either going up or constant. That's what non-decreasing is. I'm not decreasing, and here I'm not decreasing. So this would be non-decreasing.
If it said it was decreasing, would you take like the other half?
Very good. If they want decreasing, so this would be non-decreasing. I guess this would be non-increasing. And does everybody see? Let's look here. What do you appreciate about this way this was written out? What's one thing you appreciate?
That it shows it step by step.
It literally says switch and solve. So you can clearly see what I was thinking. And what that does is it forces you to think on paper as well. You just make fewer mistakes. Questions? Any other from the homework? Okay, there is nothing new under the sun. The only thing left to do is for you to begin the homework. I will have office hours the entire rest of the time to be able to answer any questions you have on the homework and any questions you have in general. When is your next quiz? Monday. I would expect that we would have enough time to maybe do stuff after the quiz, maybe start 2.1. I left myself a little room, but I hope to start 2.1 after the quiz. So the quiz should only take about half the period. As always, if you get appropriate accommodations, please let me know ahead of time if you'd like it to be placed somewhere else. If you don't know what that means, and it does not pertain to you. Have a good one. Stop. Okay. So I will upload this video for the people that missed it. What's up? To the what?
The tutoring thing again.
The what?
The tutoring thing.
Yes, yeah. When?
Stickball.
Yeah, oh yeah. You can go every time, can't you?
So what they'll have to do, just go to the person who's like the head of the study hall. And tell them
I'm hoping so, yes.
that. But they said that I need my counsellor to do it.
Oh, well then go to, this is office. I'll write you a pass to go to your counselor. Figure it out. So give me just a minute and I'll write that for you. Hey, what's up? Oh, is that for which days? Oh, I'll put that in for you. I'll put that in for you right now. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. So let me do this for Calix real quick. Let me hit.